Meantime, here back at headquarters, we've been looking at the IMF and its search for a new acting director, and at the same time, how it's dealing with this stubborn European debt crisis. Joining us with insight is a former executive board member at the IMF, Domenico Lombardi. He's now a senior fellow at the Brookings Institution. Welcome to In Business.
Nice to be with you, Margaret. Thank you.
We did see in the statement from the G8 references to the ongoing crisis in Europe, references to the tough fiscal situation here in the United States. Not a lot of specifics here. Perhaps we had false hope. How do you see the progress at this point in Europe?
Well, unfortunately, there is not much progress in talks about how to face the European crisis. President Obama is clearly very concerned about possible spillover effect to the U.S. economy, which the latest data shows it needs to solidify further, it needs to gain strength. And therefore, the U.S. administration does see a potential, the potential implications coming from the unsettling of the European situation. In Europe, however, leaders are still divided over the course of action. And quite frankly, the situation in Greece is deteriorating by the day. And, every day that action is not taken, a possible unilateral renegotiation of the Greek debt is becoming more likely. Right now, the Greeks, of course, are using this as a bargaining chip to extract better conditions from renegotiating the current program or, a follow-up program. But in any case, the most important point to note is that the current program, as some analysts predicted at the very outset, was built on excessively optimistic assumptions.
Well, assumptions that Greece would follow along with the terms it agreed to in the first place, right? I mean, we just had headlines yesterday from Jean-Claude Juncker saying that the IMF might have to hold on to that next tranche of payment, which would be, I think, around $5 billion, because Greece isn't following through with what it promised to do. But what's to prevent Portugal from doing the same thing? Ireland, which has been trying to renegotiate the terms of its bailout package as well.
Well, it's very clear that the terms that have been imposed, in these programs are quite difficult to be fulfilled. And, it's really difficult to really implement these adjustment plans. The size and the scope of the sacrifices, of the efforts requested to these people are, of course, unprecedented. We should be aware that the Greek government has no leverage on the exchange rate to boost its competitiveness.
But does the IMF actually have much leverage too? I mean, yes, they're the ones writing the check, but they wrote the check because they fear the consequences of the default. So if they want to stave off this spreading, they've got to give Greece cash, no?
Well, unfortunately, right now at the IMF, the situation is further complicated by a vacuum in the political leadership. Right now, we have an interim leadership, waiting for the membership to elect the new managing director. We should know that the IMF has been extremely proactive in encouraging and urging, actually, European leaders to be more aggressive, to stand united, before the in the unsettling of the European situation.
Do you think that we would see Greece trying to renegotiate like this if Strauss-Kahn was at the table? I mean, you say you're feeling the absence of a clear leader at the IMF. What do you mean by that?
Well, clearly, this is not, this renegotiation is not done entirely on technical grounds, but certainly on political grounds. And there is no doubt that, the IMF, under the previous leadership, took significant risks, was able to exert pressures, at least to some extent, on European leaders, partly because the then managing director was also a former finance minister from Europe and was, really interacting with his peers from a strength position. Right now, it's difficult for the institution to expose itself, especially to take risks in a situation that could well go out of hands at any point in time.
All right, Domenico, thanks for your insight. We got to leave it there.